Is primarily driven by the fact that Mondi around the world are not really focused on rigid plastics, while we in South Africa and Mpact specifically have over the past 3 years really started to develop our business in the terms of rigid plastics alongside our corrugated and other paper packaging businesses. So that's really the underlying rationale for this demerger.
This is within what is a very fragmented sector already. What growth are you targeting specifically? Because at this stage we've got 9% of total revenues derived from Africa, outside Africa. So part of that growth strategy, is there more of a focus on the African market?
Well, there is obviously some interest in the African market. We've been active in the African market for over 20 years, supplying product into countries in East Africa such as Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, and then on the West African side, Nigeria. And we still believe there is opportunity in Africa, and we are looking at the opportunities as they arise from time to time. But then, of course, there is still potential in the South African market. If you take the rigid plastic sector, for example, in South Africa, has grown over the past 10 years by in excess of 5% per annum on a volume basis. So there's still some potential there. And then, of course, in our corrugated business and our paper packaging business, despite the market being rather slow in the past years, we've managed to grow our market there also quite well in the past year. So we still believe there's plenty of opportunity in the South African market and also in other African markets, it must be said.
Getting you into what position in the local market specifically, because your listed competitors come in the form of Mpact, Astropac as well. And on your end, we're looking at nearly 6 billion rand worth of sales a year. So, you know, your market share in that packaging segment?
Well, if you take that 90% of our revenue in 2010 was derived from products in which we have the leading market positions in South Africa. So in the sectors that we've chosen to compete, we are well by far the leaders in many cases. If you take our corrugated packaging business, for example, we are the market leader by some significant margin. And then, of course, in our plastics business, plastics is to some extent more fragmented, but in the areas that we do compete, we are market leaders.
Is it sufficiently fragmented, Bruce, to give Mondi Packaging an opportunity to grow by acquisition?
Well, I mean, growth by acquisition is one opportunity, of course, but that's not the only one. There's significant opportunity for optimization within our business and also for organic growth. So acquisition is one aspect of the growth potential, but it's not the only aspect. And it's not to say that if the correct acquisition opportunities arise, and we wouldn't want to look at them, but they're not necessarily the only thing that we're looking at in terms of growth down the line.
Of course, one of the things in the spotlight is your balance sheet, where you know, we had the balance sheet overgeared, and part of today's move is to solve a part of that problem, to recapitalize the company. What gearing are you sitting with at this stage?
Well, basically we have net debt to EBITDA at the moment of 2 times, and we believe that's an appropriate level for a company of our type and our size, and we hope to sort of keep it in that range going forward. So we're very happy with that gearing. It is substantially better than what it was in the past, and we believe that will put us in quite a good position to develop our strategic growth opportunities down the line.
Some of the challenges, Bruce, as you see it, to hitting some of these targets, because there are real risks that you've got to contend with within this industry. You've got a stronger rand that raises the prospect of cheaper imports coming in, and then added to that, you're very much seen as price takers as opposed to price makers at this stage.
Well, Alishia, there are risks as one can imagine and as one sees. But having said that, there have been risks over the past 10 years in the sector, and we've managed to do well in that sector, in the sector of packaging over the past 10 years. So while there are risks, we've been decisive in the action that we've taken in the past, and there's no reason to believe that we wouldn't do the same in the future. And as a consequence, we've delivered a good performance in spite of those risks. So looking forward, it is a case of being decisive, taking a view and acting on that, and making positive moves to make sure that our business performs well in spite of those risks.